Hi guys, welcome back to my freaking YouTube channel. I cannot believe this is going to be the last video I filmed this year. What the hell? I thought in today's video we can do like a little bit of a self-reflection. I know I've kind of done a similar video on this just before my birthday. However, I wanted to do another one just to end the year off and just leave any of my thoughts, negativity behind and start a new chapter for 2026. And then my next video, which I'm pretty sure will be on the 1st of January, I think that's a Wednesday, I'm going to be doing a vision board with you guys, and I'm going to be telling you guys about my goals for the new year, how I'm going to achieve them, and give you guys some inspiration of what goals maybe you want to set for yourselves. Today I kind of want to talk about the things I've learned this year. One being, it's okay to lose people. I think that's something I've only come to terms with this year. I think a lot of the time I was getting mistreated by people, or people were doing things I didn't necessarily like or agree with. I didn't want to be around them anymore, but for the sake of how long we were friends, how long they've been in my life, I just kept them around because it felt familiar, it felt safe. And I didn't want to lose that friendship, lose that family member, whatever. This year, I actually learned like it is totally fine to not talk to people when you've tried and tried and tried to amend things with them and talk to them and get them to change, and they just haven't. And for the longest time I would blame myself. I would say, well, no, they've done this because I've done this, and that's why they've reacted like that, and they've done this because of this thing that I did. No, of course sometimes you can be the problem, that is the case, but in a lot of my situations it was other people doing me wrong, and I just kind of couldn't come to terms with it. For example, I have one family member that I've just kind of completely just cut off this year, and I want to at some point eventually talk to them again, but at the same time I'm kind of just like, I can't see you the same again. Like, you genuinely just hurt me and hurt me and hurt me. And of course I knew that in the moment, but when you kind of take a step back from the situation, you're kind of like, oh my god, I'm literally in this massive pool of just hurt because I've just been taking and taking and taking all of the shit that you've been giving me. And now that I've removed myself from the situation, I'm just here left alone to deal with it all. And that's been really hard on me this year, but I'm glad I took the steps to actually remove myself from situations and people that I didn't want to be in, because that's something I've struggled and kind of put off for like a really long time. So I'm really glad that I'm not done that this year, and I'm hoping to continue that into 2026. Also guys, I made myself a mint tea, so my throat is actually in so much pain. I don't know what's going on, but I need this right now. Another thing I've really come to terms with this year is I've spent a lot of time reflecting on my past relationships and how they've changed me, made me grow, and just made me see things in the world differently. I think when you get into relationships at a young age, for example, my first relationship, I was 16, it does things to you because like you're immersing yourself into this person that's like, you know, you're treating them as if like you're gonna marry them, like you guys are so in love and everything's just perfect, and you don't actually realize how quickly and messy as a relationship can get, and how quickly it can go from really good to really bad. And you also don't really realize how toxic relationships can get when you're in your first one and you're quite naive and you don't really, you know, understand how relationships work, and then it ends badly and that ruins you. And I think that's taken me a long time to process, and it's taken me a long time to understand how healthy relationships work, which luckily I have actually discovered how healthy relationships work this year. And I didn't think I could ever be in a healthy relationship or even comprehend someone treating me nicely and treating me the way I want to be treated. Like, you know how you see like TikToks of people like being treated well and da. It's like, okay, I'm so happy for them, but that's not gonna happen to me. Or like they're gonna end up divorced, they're gonna break up, da. That's the kind of mindset I had because of my past experiences. Although I had healed from a lot of it left a really big mark on me, and I think I still carry a lot of that trauma into my relationships now, but I've done a really good job of working on that this year, so that's something I'm really proud of myself as well. Another thing is I've been so consistent with the gym this year. I've been going 3 times a week, almost every week. I haven't gone 2 or 3 weeks out of this year, which is when I was sick or just wanted a rest week. But apart from that, I've done a really good job. I feel really proud of myself for staying persistent and seeing the improvement within not only my health but also my body and the way I feel and the way I feel about myself now. I feel like I feel more confident, not necessarily because of the way I look, but more so because I've told myself I'm going to do something and I've stuck to it, and I've been disciplined with it. I think discipline is a really big one for me this year. I've been very disciplined with a lot of things. So I'm really proud of myself for that. Another thing I would say is uni. I feel like I've touched upon or on, I don't know. I feel like I've touched on this before, but honestly, uni has basically killed me like 10 times, a million times, I don't even know, but it's killed me. And I just don't even know how I've managed to like stay in uni and like not quit. And I know that sounds really bad, but I'm gonna leave that in the video just because uni is so hard, and I don't think people actually realize how hard it is. Obviously it depends on your course, but like it's draining, it's exhausting. There's so many assignments, there's so many things you need to write every week, so many things you need to learn, remember. You need to also go in, especially for someone like me that's also balancing a job and 10 other things at the same time. It's really exhausting, and I definitely thought I would be able to balance everything in my life a little bit more, and I haven't, but I'm working on that. And the amount of times I've honestly wanted to drop out, it's not normal. I feel like a lot of people do think, oh, I'm gonna drop out, and some people do, you know, but that thought literally crosses my head like every day. I'm like, oh my god, I want to drop out. I'm not, you know, this is like too much for me. But the thing is about me is like, I really enjoy my content and I really enjoy what I'm learning. I think if I didn't, I would have dropped out by now, because it's exhausting to do all of that and also not enjoy what you're learning at the same time. I don't even know how I would cope with that. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Like, I don't think I would. I think I actually wouldn't. So I'm really proud of myself for staying consistent with uni and getting my assignments done and getting pretty good grades and trying my best. So I'm really proud of myself for that. I think that deserves another sip of tea. Another thing I'm really proud of myself this year is going to concerts. Concerts are very loud. Okay, they're very overstimulating. And as someone who has PTSD, loud noises are very triggering for me. And being like, you know, in tight spaces is very triggering for me. However, I actually managed to go to, I think, 5 or 6 concerts this year, which is crazy because I remember I had my first one, I think, in April, and I was so scared. I was so anxious. I literally paid for like food that was like £25 because I was so scared I was gonna faint. It was so loud. There was people everywhere. I was very, very overwhelmed. But that first concert I went to was probably one of the best concerts I think I'll ever go to. It was really, really good. And I reminisce on that time a lot. And I'm really proud of myself because last year I wouldn't have even thought like I could walk outside without headphones on because of how loud it is outside. And I've come to realize things like that don't bother me as much anymore. I do still like to carry around my headphones with me quite often, just for that kind of security blanket, but I'm like totally fine a lot of the time with having them off. And I think that's amazing, especially one triggering place for me is when I used to walk from a specific place where I live to the job I had at the time. That 20-minute walk killed me. I would literally feel like I was dying each time I walked to work, and then I got to work and I was just like in this state of terror. And at that point I didn't know I had PTSD, so it's almost like I don't even know what's going on with me. It was literally the worst time of my life. It was terrifying. I don't even know how I got through that. So I actually did that walk the other day. I didn't do the whole thing, I just did like a little section of it, but even just that little section I was like, oh my god, like I'm really proud of myself for doing this, like go me, you know. So yeah, I'm really proud of myself for that. Another thing I really want to reflect on is the fact that I moved out. I didn't know at the start of this year where I would be living. I think if I told January me that I was living by myself, I think she'd probably be like, what? Like, what? I'm like, what do you mean? You know? And at the moment, I do live in a studio, in a student accommodation. But to me, that's a massive step because I still have my own place. And next year, I definitely want to move into a place that's like my own apartment. However, I don't know if that's gonna happen, but that is one of my goals, at least for next year or the year after. And honestly, at the start of the year, I was very upset with where I was living. I didn't feel like I could feel safe in my own body and in my own home, but not even in a way of like physically unsafe. My body just was rejecting my environment. And I think this year it was such a struggle even when I moved in. I think honestly when I first moved in I was not okay. Like I felt really weird. It felt very unfamiliar. Like, what do you mean like my mom's not gonna come home at like 8 p.m, you know, to like say hi to me? Like I just found the whole thing really weird and quite isolating. But I've definitely like grown into it and I feel really proud of myself now. I always was very independent, so I thought I would kind of be fine with the transition, but honestly it's quite difficult to adjust, I'm not gonna lie. I also have gone through a friendship breakup this year. I have never really had like a friendship breakup that I would count as a friendship breakup, but I did have one this year, and that's okay. I think I honestly needed that friendship breakup because it helped me just touch the bin. It helped me see and understand more about friendships, more about other people, more about the boundaries I wanted to set with myself and with others. And I learned more about myself, and I learned more about how I want to be treated and how I want to treat others. Most importantly, I learned that, you know, not everyone is going to be a permanent person in your life, but even so, like, you shouldn't be scared of putting your all into someone. Just because I lost someone that was close to me doesn't mean that I should stop going out and, you know, stop making new friends because I'm scared that, you know, the friendship will end. I don't think that's a good way of thinking, and I'm really glad I don't think that way. But it made me realize that friendship breakups are normal, and like people grow apart and like they go their separate ways, and that's literally fine. Like, it's fine. And I think I had amazing memories with that person, and I don't think I would have gotten to the place I am now without that person. And it was definitely really hurtful. I think I remember about 2 months ago there was a point where I just sobbed. I literally just sobbed, not because I was necessarily like upset that we weren't friends anymore. I was just upset with how everything kind of unraveled, if that makes sense. Like, just the way it ended was quite upsetting to me at that time, and I feel like I couldn't like gather like my thoughts together, and like my brain was just not really comprehending like what's going on. And then I realized, you know, people change, I'm gonna change, people grow out of things, grow into things, and everyone's on their own journey. Especially I'm only 20, like I have so much time to make so many more friends, and I'm so grateful for all the experiences and memories that I have already with so many people, especially people that aren't in my life anymore, because I've probably, you know, helped shape them and they helped shape me, and that's okay. And I'm really glad that I have this mindset on that, because if this happened to me a year ago, I would have absolutely broken down into pieces and just been like, oh my god, like what's going on. But I think I'm just so sure of myself that situations like this don't affect me as much anymore. Not that I'm not upset about them, I'm not saying I'm numb, I'm just saying I process my feelings and then I move on. Of course I'll think about that person from time to time, but there's not a point where like I just want to sit there and wallow. Like, once I'm done processing my feelings, I've cried it out, I've talked it out, whatever, like there's no point for me to just keep replaying it in my head over and over again, because I have things to do. Like, I have a life to live, I have other people to hang out with, other, you know, people to meet, things to do. Like, you can't just stop your life just because something bad happened to you. I think that's also what I've realized this year, you know. I feel like I realized this year that I'm just a person that just keeps going. Like, genuinely, no matter what happens to me, I just keep going, and I don't understand like what it is, because I really feel like a lot of the time like things are just out to get me, and that sounds really, really bad, but I genuinely feel like that about a lot of things, which some people might say, oh my god, it's a victim mindset, and I do know that, but it is really hard when you've grown up with so much trauma and then you try and change your life and then you have all these obstacles coming at you. But you know, it's like that with everyone, but because, you know, you're yourself, it feels kind of like a personal attack sometimes. And I feel like especially when you keep trying and trying to get out of a hole and you just keep getting kicked and kicked and kicked, that's what I feel like a lot of the time. I feel like I'm really happy with myself because I've kept persistent with just getting up and getting up and getting up and getting up and just trying my best. And obviously I've had really tough days this year, and weeks and even months. I just can't do it anymore. Like, I've genuinely been in some of the worst places of my life this year, but I've also grown so much as a person where it's almost like, okay, you know, this kind of balances out, I guess. So yeah, this year has definitely been a year that shaped me. I'm also no longer a teenager, which is so upsetting, but I'm very excited to be entering my 20s. I think this year, I will never forget this year. This year is the year where so much should happen to me, and probably next year it will be the same, maybe 10 times more, but hopefully more good things than bad things. But anyway, thank you guys so much for sticking around with me on my channel. I don't even know how I've managed to stay so consistent with YouTube. Even though I love when people watch my videos, even if it's like 5 people, I'm just so happy to just talk to a camera and just talk about my feelings and edit it. I love editing. I mention in all my videos I love editing. So I'm really glad you guys stuck around with me. And I've had some really, really sweet comments on my videos this past year. A few really, really, really nice comments. And it's been really wonderful to read them. And I do think about them from time to time. And it definitely motivates me to keep going. So thank you so much. And I hope everyone has an amazing Christmas. Happy Christmas Eve if you're watching this on the day it comes out. And happy Christmas. And I wish you an amazing new year, and I will see you on January 1st, where I'll be telling you guys all about my goals and my plans for the new year, and hopefully inspire you guys to do the same. I got a new plan yesterday, so I'm very excited for the next video that's coming out. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I don't even know what I would do without this little channel. Honestly, it's so nice to just have a little place where I can just gather all my thoughts. It's really nice. But I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I will see you in the next one.